It's UFC 313 fight week, so that means we got our full card predictions and breakdown here for you.
Woohoo!
You know, we skipped 312 because...
Oh, yeah, we haven't done this in a while.
We were just trying to forget that card existed.
Yeah.
But we're back for 313, and you know what? We thought it looked a little bit better than it did, but...
There's 2 early prelims. That's it. That's literally it. There's like 7 fights on the card. We'll do the whole card breakdown. We'll start off with the 2 early prelims, and then we'll give you guys our Hail Mary prediction. I have a good, crazy prediction for this card. It's going to hit.
Oh, yeah?
It's going to hit, for
I got to
sure.
think of mine.
On the spot.
There's always one of us who forgets to vote those. You finally remembered. But first fight, Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal.
This will be interesting. Morono finally made out of the Apex, so we got to give him his credit for that. But I think I'm going to go with Carlos Leal on this one because he did have a very, very good performance at UFC 308 against Rinat Fakhretdinov, who's one of the biggest prospects in that welterweight division. So I think if Carlos Leal fights even 75% of what he showed at 308, he'll put Morono out within 2 rounds.
Yeah, Leal's just got to stay away from doing a piss test the week coming up because you cannot tell me this guy is not roided up. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason why he didn't beat Renat, because they knew he was hot. They were like, this guy is juiced to the
Well, that's what I'm worried about. Like, if he did have to get in the testing pool after that, because, like, you know, they're not testing the guy who's on 2-day short notice.
Yeah.
So if he has to get in the testing pool and now he's just garbage, I'm going to be really mad at this pick.
Wasn't he also super heavy overweight?
No, that was a different guy. But he did have, he was the one who had like the crazy acne on the back.
Yeah, but did they not have catch weight or were they at actual?
I think they were catch weight.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, I mean, as long as a guy as big as Leal can make weight, have no issues with his cut, those are obviously the things you look out for. But
he looked fast, you know.
Yeah,
he's a good striker.
I'm rocking with Leal, you know. As long as no weird hokey pokey stuff goes on.
Yeah.
Should be Leal and without any issues.
Yeah, it'll be a standing fight though, so it'll be all right.
All right, our other early prelim, you know, we just got some bangers on the bottom of this card.
Big names.
Marion Santos versus Francis Marshall. And, you know, this is an interesting fight. You know, we have Francis Marshall, who half of his wins inside of his MMA career have come from submission, but he also just doesn't shoot takedowns or attempt submissions. Well, it's so weird. So it's like if he shoots a submission, you're going to be tapping. Like he averages like half a submission every 15 minutes and half of his fights are submission wins. So he must have like some crazy chokes or something or some crazy armbar. But he also like only shoots like 2.5 takedowns a minute, or per 15 minutes, which is really weird for someone who is a submission specialist, you know? But I mean, who knows what he'll do in this fight. But then you got Marion Santos, who has some really good striking, you know, has 8 KO wins inside of his career. And, like, I realistically don't see how Francis Marshall up against, like, an actual good opponent is going to be able to have his mid takedowns and his mid submissions actually work. And I think he's going to get chinned at some point in this fight.
I think the main thing that made me pick Santos is he has a win over Con Offley, which is a decent win. And I just didn't see anything on Marshall's resume that was interesting at all. So
yeah, there was nothing. I had to go into the advanced stats to find out about this guy.
Bro, I had to research Tapology.
No, it was actually the UFC website that gave me those stats.
All right, moving on to the prelims. We got some decent matchups on here. Starting us off, we got Jordan Santos versus Ozzy Diaz.
You know, we got Ozzy Diaz, the guy who...
Rip.
He lost to Ming Yang Zhang in his last fight.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
On the Contender Series, he lost to Joe Pyfer. So, you know, he loses to the decent to good fighters, you know? But that means that he's also, like, capped off at, like, this level, you know? Anyone who's, like, a good prospect, Ozzy Diaz ain't beating you. The Jordan Santos.
Silent D.
You know, this is going to be his first fight post-Contender Series, so he's looking to come out and, like, make a bang. But the thing is with him is he earned the contract off of a decision win. You know,
which is kind of rare on the Contender Series.
So, like, must have been a good win, but I also don't trust it because for being in an upper weight class, everything is a decision win, and that's not what you love to see from a prospect.
I think I remember watching this on the Contender Series. I think it was one of the wars where he gave both of them a contract.
Okay.
It might have been that one. I could be wrong, though. But I do like Ozzy Diaz on this fight because he's on a 5-fight win streak. And like in the beginning, it's all about momentum, and I think that's a big thing for Ozzy Diaz right now. He's also 27 years old compared to 34 to Santos, so I think I'm gonna have to rock with Diaz on this.
Yeah, I'm
one.
rocking with Ozzy Diaz too. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked him out just because I don't see like power from Santos and I see a lot of power from Diaz. So it's tough, but I'm rocking with Diaz. So far we're 3 for 3 on the same picks. So.
Yeah. Next one, Bruno Ferreira versus Armin Petrosian. This one was tough because they're both just like very bleh. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing interesting about Armin Petrosian striking. Like he's just a very okay kickboxer, mixes in the wrestling sometimes, but now he's just owned by Shara Bullet, which
He's forever
sucks.
going to be known as the guy who got hit with the double bullet.
Yeah.
For as long as Char is around, because as soon as Char retires, no one's ever remembering this guy.
And then Bruno Ferreira in his last fight got subbed by Abus Magomedov in the later rounds, I believe.
That fight was bad.
But he almost KO'd Abus Magomedov. And it's not like Abus has a good chin or cardio, so it's like, what do you do? What do you do in this prediction? Bruno Ferreira has good blitzes. He kind of just like blitzes in, conserves energy, blitzes in, and doesn't do anything else. Whereas I feel like Armin Petrosian has more consistent output for the entire fight, which makes me just slightly lean toward Petrosian for a decision win. But if it's going to be a KO win, I can definitely see Bruno Ferreira getting a fluke KO.
Yeah, I just don't trust Ferreira's cardio.
No.
You know, it is bad. You know, he's one of those guys where it's like he's got maybe a round of cardio in him. And you know what? That's what you get at those upper weight classes with the lower level guys. And Petrosian, like, he realistically didn't look terrible up against Shara Bullet.
He was good.
I mean, up until like a month ago was ranked. You know, that was a ranked fighter.
It's true.
Ranked win from Petrosian.
Big win.
But it's like you got a couple of low ranked middleweights. You never really know what's going to happen. Ferreira obviously could get the KO, but I'm feeling safer pick is just a Petrosian decision here.
Yeah. Moving up the card, we got Joshua Van versus Ray Saruya. This is another good matchup. Ray Saruya was a replacement fight. Joshua Van was supposed to be fighting someone else in the rankings. I think it might have been like Bruno Silva or something, like someone random, NPC, Tim Elliott maybe.
I think it was like, I think his Van's 13, I think it was.
It was some like
was
like
12.
11 or 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we got replaced with Ray Saruya, which is a good replacement. Like he's a good prospect, but he's not great. He's not powerful on the feet, which is I think what you typically need to beat Joshua Van, because Joshua Van has like the best volume boxing.
It's unreal.
In those lower weight classes, but he just doesn't have the power to put you out. So it's like if you can land a good shot on him, it's usually lights out for Joshua Van. But if you can't, he's just going to overwhelm you. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Ray Saruya has like any crazy grappling or takedowns or submission threats that are really going to hinder Joshua Van's striking.
Yeah, if Saruya had anything that was like, this is going to sound really mean, but anything that was like standout or good, you know, Van would have some issues. But because Saruya is just very much like mid-rounded, you know, not well-rounded, mid-rounded.
He's like a very much worse version of Tatsuro Taira. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Just very mid.
Yeah, and
you
both
know?
from Asia.
Yeah.
I like how you made that. You couldn't have picked a white fighter
Connection.
or a black fighter.
Well, no.
You had to pick the only other Asian flyweight.
Yeah.
Just kidding. There's 1,800 of them.
They're every 5'4" Asian is a flyweight.
I mean, Joshua Van is one of my favorite flyweights. You
Yeah.
know, he's exciting. He puts on good fights every time. So like, you're naturally gonna root for him, and like, you know, I'm rocking with Van. I don't think he puts him out, but I could see like a 30-27 decision win here.
Yeah, it should be a 30-27. I think this is one of those fights where Joshua Van's going to break his own striking records again. He's just going to clip farm the entire time because Saruya is not going to put out much offense. But, you know, I feel like this is one of those fights where we could be completely wrong and Ray Saruya subs him in one. And we're just like,
This feels like the type of fight to get the upset.
Yeah.
You know, because I think Josh Van's like a minus 190 underdog. So it's not like he's like a minus 190 favorite. So I don't like he's crazy favorited, but
I think there's actually 11 fights on this card because there's 2 early prelims, 4 prelims, and then 5 main card.
that
is
equals
so
11.
smart. Oh, that's just bad, bro. That's poor from the UFC. This is going to be a 4-hour night.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't need more UFC.
Yeah, it's too much right now.
Yes.
Can't keep up with all of it. Next up, we got Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev Blobiev. Blades finally making his return. I didn't realize how long it's been. 304, so pretty much almost 10 pay-per-views since getting out from knocked out from Tommy Aspinall. And then Kuniev is getting a top 5 ranked opponent in his very first comeback to the UFC. This just shows how cooked the heavyweight rankings are. It's like flyweight. It's like Kai Sakura getting the title shot, but not quite as bad. Imagine Rizvan Kuniev getting a John Jones title shot.
This is basically if like Makayev comes back and was like, all right, I'm going to fight. Like, I don't think they'd give him Pantoja. They could give him Pantoja, honestly, right away. But he's like, they're like, give me Royval, give me Moreno. You know? And more so Albazi, the bum of the top 5.
Yeah, but I just don't think that Rizvan Kuniev has, like, his biggest win is over the PFL guy Pereira, who
lost to Ngannou.
Ngannou, that's his best win, which is like decent, but I don't think Ngannou's the best heavyweight right now.
Well, and Ngannou put that guy out at like
that's what I'm saying.
A minute 13 or something.
You know, the dude had no grappling or wrestling. So I think Curtis Blades does have good wrestling and grappling. I mean, he was able to KO Almeida when he was shooting. And I think if you can, as a heavyweight, if you can KO Almeida, who just spams takedowns, I don't see how he's going to lose to Rizvan Kuniev, who's fighting in the PFL. I'm sorry, I just don't want to do much research on this because it's like, logically, Kuniev cannot win.
Yeah, the more research you do, the worse this
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Just treat it as top 5 fighter versus a guy coming in and coming back to the UFC. Unranked guy versus top 5 guy.
Surely.
Curtis Blades, safe. I don't know if he'll knock him out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3-round fight. Heavyweights have 1 round of cardio, and then they kind of just plod around. So it's safe to go with a decision here.
Yeah.
But, Blades, sharp 1-2 down the pipe. I'll go round 2 KO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 round of Rizvan Blobiev's shooting takedowns, and then he gets tired. That's my prediction. All right, on to the main card. First up, we got a banger matchup. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. Bobby Green versus Mauricio Rufy. Obviously, everyone knows about it, but like it's not hyped up, Whereas I think this has like a sneaky chance to be a war.
Like I'm like, it's funny. Everyone's so big on, the Bryce Mitchell Silva and then the Protez Neal fight, that they kind of just like, they forget that the other fighting are Mauricio Rufy, next Conor McGregor is on this
forget,
card.
Man.
Next Conor McGregor's on this card.
True.
Fighting as Bobby Green,
King Green, actually.
You wrote Bobby Green.
I know.
So
I was not respecting him like that.
He got the king rescinded.
Yeah.
He had to
After he got subbed by Patty, he got the king rescinded.
But like, no, this has the potential to be a really good fight. Bobby Green puts on good fights, except for when he gets submitted in like a minute by Patty.
But that's a good fight.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite fights of all time.
Exactly. Did you get hate for that? I didn't check the comments.
Dude, that video got so much hate for the pure fact that people didn't understand what favorite fights was.
Right, they thought it was the best fights of all time.
It wasn't the best fights, guys. It
was
our favorite fights.
It's hard to understand titles. And when we say it like 5 times in the intro, they still can't get it. Also, the dude who got hate from Azerbaijan, that was crazy.
Dude, that dude is our biggest hater now. He comments on every video.
Oh, actually?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
He comments on every video now.
That's wild.
He had like 3 comments on that video.
I know. I showed my brother. He literally died of laughter. Like, that's honestly respect for taking that much time writing 3 paragraphs. It's impressive.
Like, submit those for my English assignment.
ChatGPT, analyze this, reformat it into shorter sentences.
But back to Green versus Rufy. Rufy's a huge favorite. I think it's close to like -5, -600.
Of course.
Huge favorite in this fight. I could see Bobby Green pulling up the upset here.
He's a crafty vet.
And he's gotten... It's not like he hasn't won it forever, A year ago, he beat Jim Miller in that time where he nearly murdered him. Jim Miller looked dead.
Yeah.
Lost to Patty, but Patty's built different. Rufy didn't look that good in his last fight up against Fatty McFadden. 30 pounds over.
Got cut from the UFC, lawn top.
30 pounds over. Still never going to get over that. But I mean, realistically... You have the prospect, you have the vet.
Yeah.
If the prospect's legit, you got to go with the prospect. But I'm not purely 100% confident in Rufy here.
Yeah, I feel like he is the weakest fighting nerd. Protez, I think he's legit. The striking's unreal.
Yeah.
And then Gene Silva is just yeah, he's obviously good. Kyle Browse already was a top 5 ranked middleweight. It's like Rufy's kind of the last one to prove himself in those rankings. And I'm really struggling to see him being a dominant force in the lightweight division. He's kind of skinny.
He has the skill.
Yeah.
He's a small lightweight.
Yeah.
I think he's lightweight because Gene Silva already took featherweight.
Yeah.
You know, so he's like, it's either lightweight or bantamweight.
Yeah, he looks like he could bulk up and like fill out the frame, but I'm struggling to pick Rufy. Like I know I should, but I'm really struggling to pick him just because I feel Bobby Green could last the first round, just cover up, and then kind of use some crafty vet skills to take round 2 and 3. But I think that's more unlikely. I think Rufy will dominate the first round. The range control is just so much better. He does have some takedowns, which he could use on Bobby Green. Obviously, Bobby Green, submission king of getting submitted.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to see a submission from Mauricio Rufy, but I think if he mixes in the takedowns, he has that scissor takedown clip, which is insane. He's just creative. And I think that could give Bobby Green a lot of problems compared to just the plotty Jim Miller. And Jim Miller won the first round even.
I think so.
Yeah, or like it was very close. I think one judge gave it to him. So I'm going to go with Rufy 29-28. I think it's going to be closer again than what people think.
Yeah, you're looking for this prospect to get his round 1 KO, but I think if Rufy doesn't put out Green in the first round, it's probably going to a decision.
Yeah.
Who knows which way it'll go. I'm going to go Rufy to get probably the decision win. But
it's not like Bobby Green has a bad chin.
No.
He has a decent chin.
He was in the rankings up until 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's probably 8 months ago now since 304, but
yeah, that's true.
He's still a good fighter. Rufy, unproven, has all the skill, unorthodox talent. He has that uniqueness, but we'll see. This will be a good test for him.
Yeah, for sure. Next up the card, we got Amanda Lemos versus Yasmin Lucindo. Banger alert! Banger alert!
Like, this is the most stereotypical women's fight of all time. We got near pick-em odds,
Brazilian.
Yeah, both Brazilian. Lucindo's riding that 4-fight win streak. She's looking to keep on moving up where Amanda's 37 at the end of her career. She has that 3 fights ago. She lost to Wei Li for the belt. Last 2 fights ago, she beat Dern. So Dern's on the way up right now. That win ages better with how Dern's fighting
but
lately.
I don't rank a Dern win that
No,
high.
it's women's MMA.
I don't rate any win that highly in women's MMA.
like you could win one fight. Rose Namajunas goes out there and 50-45 someone in one fight, and then the next fight she gets 50-45.
She's an oddball. She's a unique case.
They're all just
you could flip a coin and anything could happen unless it's a Wei Li fight.
Yeah, but that's what I have with this fight is I'm like,
Yeah, and that's why it's pick 'em odds. Lucindo is kind of an unproven prospect.
Yeah.
Well, not unproven. She's very good, but it's like she hasn't had that test to get into like the top 5 yet. I think Lemos is technically 7th or 6th ranked.
Lemos is 5, Lucindo's 7.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
Lucindo's it's near pick 'em. She's minus 130.
Yeah, so it's a close fight, but I think just with the momentum and the age gap, like Amanda Lemos is 37 years old. Lucindo is, I think, if there's anyone who has skill as a prospect, it is Lucindo. So I am going to pick Lucindo, and obviously decision because it's a women's fight. That's the safest option in a women's fight. But I think this is going to be a pretty standard,
Yeah.
A little bit of kickboxing.
Maybe a little
ground and pound.
Some sprawls on the ground.
Yeah, dude, women's ground and pound is so bad. I think if you could add one thing to make it a little bit better, because they're always on the ground, add ground and pound. When they get them to the ground, they just smear, it's just bad, bro. It's just bad.
Yeah, I'm also rocking with the Lucindo decision. We aren't mixing it up too much, so.
No, and we don't need to talk about too much either, because realistically, you guys aren't here to hear about a women's MMA prediction.
They're holding it out for the
casuals. You didn't break down Lucindo versus Lemos. Shut up, bro. Jalen Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is another one where it could be fight of the night or performance of the night, depending on how Bahamondes does. I love that name, Bahamondes. It's so sick. Write a song about it. But I do like Jalen Turner. He's one of the tallest lightweights. They're both 6'3", bro.
They're huge.
They're both 6'3". So finally, someone who can match Jalen Turner's length in the kickboxing. And And Bahamondes had that great performance on UFC 306 at the Sphere. So I like the momentum that Bahamondes has. I'm glad he's getting a shot to like fight in front of a big crowd again, rather than Esteban Ribovic, who got banished to the Apex after a war.
Ribovic is hurt now.
I'm not surprised.
Sorry, not. Which one fought this last weekend?
Yeah, Ribovic.
Ribovic fought this. Okay, no, he's not hurt. Zell Huber had a fight coming up, and he's hurt.
Right.
It just got announced, and it's already canceled because he's hurt.
Bastard. But I'm liking Bahamondes more in this, just because Jalen Turner has kind of a bit of a quitter attitude. We saw it against Moicano at 300. If he doesn't feel like he can beat them, he's like, well, what's going on here? You know, my length isn't working.
That was Turner's last fight too, right? So he's taken a while after getting that TKO loss.
Yeah, I think he has taken a bit of time off from that, the Spider. But then he had that Dan Hooker fight earlier, and like, I just haven't seen anything like, oh, he's the guy. You know,
Yeah.
I think he should move up and put a bit of weight on, a bit of muscle, so he doesn't get chinned quite as easily. But
I don't know. I just feel with him, it's just like, it feels very much Kevin Holland-esque. You know, of just not caring.
Doesn't lock in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he could have finished Moicano, and now
That fight was won.
Yeah.
It was all but one, and then didn't, and then...
Yeah. It's like the Michael Bisping when he got kneed up against the cage against Anderson Silva. It kind of just breaks their will when they think they've won, and then they need to go back and fight. Obviously, I don't think the same thing's going to happen. I doubt Jalen Turner's going to make that same mistake ever again. But I like Ignacio Bahamondes in this fight. I think he has a great chin, so Jalen Turner isn't going to be able to hurt him like he did Moicano. I'm going to ride with Bahamondes, maybe even a late TKO finish in round 3.
I mean, maybe this is the time where I go different here. For the video, I'll say Jalen Turner's getting my pick here, but
could go either way.
Yeah, it's a close fight. I forget what the odds.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I forget what the odds are as well. But next up, we got one of the most exciting fights on the card: Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. The reason why we got so much hate, the man from Azerbaijan. All right. Dude, if I guess this guy's watching because he watches all of our videos, you know, if you've made it to this point in the video, thank you for watching. Yeah. But I actually love Baku, the street circuit for F1 in Azerbaijan. So put some respect on my name, all right?
And we love you.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we love you, and it's going to be okay, whatever you're going through.
It's true.
No need to funnel your hate into our comments.
What do you think about this fight, Dylan?
I mean, we've kind of already talked about this fight a little bit, but let's go and talk about it a little bit more. You know, we have Gaethje, the vet, the highlight. He's looking to not end up on his back again, you know, is basically his plan here, you know, and then Fiziev on a week and a half notice about was what it was.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, week and a half. You know, they fought before. Gaethje won the first time. Somehow Fiziev hasn't fought in 2 years, is the favorite in this fight. You know, we're just recapping the stuff we already talked about.
Now it's more even.
Yeah. No, but it's still, it was close to pick him, but like Fiziev is still slight favorite in this fight.
Really? That's wild.
It's so tough to know what we're actually going to get in this fight. You know, we have Gaethje coming off of that brutal KO and Fiziev not fighting for 2 years, you know? So it's like, what is going to happen?
What's worse?
What is going to happen in this fight? You know, and I'm always big against, you know, guys taking huge layoffs. I think that they always start slow. So I think I'm going to go, round one's going to go to Gaethje. You know, and then, but that thing is that round one is Fiziev's round. You know, that's where he shines. So if he doesn't have that first round, you know, coming in slow, not fighting for 2 years, then I struggle to see a path where he wins this fight. You know, because then Gaethje might just sail to a win. You know, should be an all-out war. You know, it's another one of those fights that could be a fight of the night candidate. You know, it should be a fight of the night candidate realistically. And I just don't know if Gaethje's actually going to get that KO in this fight. You know, I've never, like, really, truly trusted Gaethje's power. You know, I think that, like, we look at, like, that Poirier, that was a kick. You know, that's different. A head kick KO is different than, like, a punching KO. You know, it's just different vibes, you know?
But I mean, obviously Gaethje has power, but I don't know if he's, like, in his last couple fights, he's been way more defensive, which I think is good for his career, but I think his style also lends itself to just like brawling. That's like what he's good at. He's good at getting rocked and recovering faster than his opponent at least. So I just don't know if Gaethje's chin is going to take another brutal beating, you know? Like if he gets hit with knees and elbows and kicks like he did in their first fight, is he going to withstand it? He's taken a year off, so I think that helps, but it's tough. It's really tough because you just never know. I think I'm going to go with Gaethje by decision. I doubt he gets a KO. I watched the interview with I think it was like Shaq MMA or something that he did. And he said he's going to walk forward a lot more in this fight because he knows what he needs to do to win. Even against Max, he said he didn't walk forward enough, which I agree with. I definitely agree with. He's always better on the front foot, just like any fighter is.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to make a video about that where it's like, if you look at all the champions right now, and I forget who said this, maybe it might have been Gaethje, but if you look at all the champions right now, they all impose their will. They all walk forward. Pereira stalks his prey. Bilal Muhammad always pushing forward. Marab, Taporia, Pantoja, Dricus, always on the front foot. Like, it's actually crazy. That's like probably the most important thing.
I would say the only one that doesn't really, like, even Jones is always pushing forward. Tom doesn't really push forward the same way.
Yeah.
You know, like when he gets into that zone, he is, but he's tends back to, you know, he's technically the one on the outside usually.
It's true.
Doing his little thing, and then
I guess heavyweight's just dangerous to be pushing forward all the time, you know?
That's probably why he's not an actual champion though. But yeah.
don't disrespect him like that.
But yeah, I really think Gaethje has the chance to get caught with some big kick from Fiziev.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's Fiziev's path to victory. Just spam some head kicks. You know, it works for me in UFC 5. You never know when you're going to get that fluky KO. But I'm rocking with the underdog. I'm going with Justin Gaethje in this fight.
You gotta. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset.
No.
And we see Gaethje at
I mean,
top
technically,
3.
Gaethje's the upset.
Oh, true. Yeah. All right, last fight. Big Ank versus Alex Pereira.
Shama!
Oh, right. Well,
Shama!
I couldn't really predict anyone else wearing this shirt, so you guys already know my prediction. I was tempted to switch it up last second, but I was like, do I even I don't want this. I don't want Ank to win. I just think it's worse for the division. It might be better.
It actually technically might be better for the division.
It's better matchup wise. It's worse for my mental health.
The division just dies.
Yeah.
If you have Big Ank as your champion, light heavyweight's just over.
Yeah, Dana's cutting the division.
Yeah.
It's over, bro.
Send them all to the GFL.
I do think that Ank versus Yuri would be a great matchup for the belt if Pereira moved up to heavyweight. I think if Ank wins this, if Pereira wants it, it's obviously an immediate rematch because there's no one else.
Yeah.
Right? This is a time where I'm like, okay, if Ank wins, I do believe that an immediate rematch is fair because there's just no one else in the division.
And he has 3 title defenses.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
double champion, give him his respect. But
you also don't. Sorry, one more thing.
Oh,
you also
ahead.
don't have the time for Pereira to go out and get 1 or 2 more wins and then come back.
True.
We don't have that with Pereira. You know, time is not on his side. I saw a video talking about Pereira could realistically retire this year.
Yeah.
You know, if he moves up to heavyweight,
he could. Yeah, I think if he moves up to heavyweight and loses, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
and I think that'd be respectable
or
too.
even wins. There's not there's anyone to fight.
Dude, if he retired after winning a heavyweight belt and called it quits, that'd be cinema.
Yeah, just goes beats Tom.
The best career of all time.
It's over.
Yeah.
Because oh yeah, get those defenses. Almeida's coming for you. Almeida's dangerous.
Dude, Almeida posted on Twitter. I'm not sure if you saw this. He said, responding to Tom's YouTube video, he's like, "Oh, I'd be happy to fight the champ. Let's screw Cyril Gahn. Let's fight each other." Almeida versus Tom, and the Twitter post had 1,000 views. I was like, "Bro, no one cares, bro. Literally, no one cares about you." Dawson's Corner got more engagement than that on their first Twitter post.
183 views.
Big dog. But the one thing I do love about Pereira in this fight is his cardio. I think his cardio is his most underrated weapon. I saw Bedtime MMA talking about how his cardio is goes downhill. I'm like, bro, what do you expect?
Whose cardio doesn't...
Except Marab, whose cardio goes up in the fight.
Yeah.
And maybe Colby Covington.
But realistically, their cardio actually doesn't go up. They just save it a little bit more. They're better.
Yeah.
They have such good gas tank that they don't have
it's not like you ever get more cardio in the later rounds.
Yeah. You're not popping... It's not the Lorax. You're not popping oxygen bottles in the corner.
Well, maybe Colby Covington is. I wouldn't be surprised. But I just love how much Pereira conserves energy. He doesn't make any extra movements. He's light on his feet, but at the same time, he imposes his will, So I just like how he looks in those 4th and 5th rounds. He won the 5th round against Izzy, KO'd him. He KO'd Roundtree in the 4th round. Jan Blachowicz won the 2nd and 3rd round. He knows what he needs to do to win rounds and ultimately win the fights. Mm-hmm. So I like that for him. And I think Ankalaev, he has good cardio. Don't get me wrong. Ankalaev probably has some of the best cardio in the division behind maybe Pereira and Yuri. But I think after Pereira's been chewing up the legs, of Ankalaev for 3 or 4 rounds, I think that mobility is just going to go out the window, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he's going to try and wrestle. But we saw, if you watch, I did watch back the Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira fight. And it was close. It was definitely close. I think Pereira definitely won, but definitely a close fight. But what the difference was, Jan Blachowicz in those later rounds, once he got his legs beat up and the body kicks and the body jabs, you just shoot for the takedowns. That doesn't mean anything
Yeah,
anymore.
you're just shooting to shoot.
Exactly. So I think if that happens in this fight, Pereira's going to take over from round 3. I do think that Ankalaev's going to win the first round. I think he's just going to go in there, shoot a takedown. Pereira's going to get stuck up against the fence, and that's going to be a wrap for round 1. And we're all going to be like, yep, it's over. We're cooked, you know? But then Pereira's going to come back, win round 2, maybe lose round 3, and then take round 4 and 5. I think it's going to be a decision.
Ooh. So I'm actually while you were talking, I was plotting some cinema in my head. Okay. Early rounds, Ankalaev is basically all over Pereira. You know, like he is just taking him down, having his will with Pereira. But the thing is with Ankalaev, he can't put him out. You know, like that's the thing. He has no finishing ability. So it's basically just control time. You know, first round goes by, Ankalaev wins. Second round goes by, Ankalaev wins. Third round goes by, you know, it's a little bit closer. Ankalaev still nudges that one out. He's up 3 rounds to nothing. You know, so it's like,
dude, I'll be crying if this happens.
So it's like Pereira's got to go. Pereira's got to go. Fourth round, we start to see the table shift a little bit. You know, we have a pretty close round. Pereira maybe nudges it out, but it was a close round. Fifth round, Pereira needs to go. You know, he's been starting to do more damage. Just enters flow state, knocks out Ank in the 5th round.
That would be insane.
Round 5 KO for Pereira.
You know what? Look, I would love that. Well, I wouldn't love it during the moment.
No.
Afterwards, I'd love it. But you know what I would hate is afterwards, people would be saying, oh, Ank was winning, though. Ank was winning on the scorecards. Ank would have won if it went to
Ank
decision.
almost beat him during Ramadan.
Bro.
I hate the fact that we have...
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. We will talk about that later. Don't worry. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But this is definitely by far Alex Pereira's hardest fight. Like, I'm not discrediting Ank at all. He is the second best light heavyweight that we know of. You know, I'd love to see Yuri. I'd love to see Yuri.
I would say Yuri might be better because Yuri has the Jamal Hill win.
Yeah.
Ankalaev's...
And the Jan Blachowicz. Glover Teixeira.
Yeah. Jan Blachowicz has got the draw with Jan Blachowicz and the win over Johnny Walker. His best win is Johnny Walker and Rakic. Johnny Walker and Rakic. Yuri has Glover Teixeira, Jamal Hill and Rakic.
And Dominic Reyes.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up for what resume is
Big
better.
Ank.
But I people are saying this because Big Ank has the wrestling.
Yeah.
Obviously. Obviously he has good wrestling.
See.
But he has it. He still has good wrestling. I think people are underrating it now that everyone's like, oh, he can't get a finish. They
heard us talking about it.
Exactly. Now everyone's like, oh, it doesn't matter. But it definitely does matter. Because he can definitely hold Pereira down. You don't even need to do damage. If you hold him down and Pereira doesn't get any significant strikes, you still win the round.
Yeah.
Right? Which is what I'm worried about. But I think that Pereira has a great chin at light heavyweight. And he's not going to be able to... he's not afraid to stand in the fire. And when he needs a finish, he will look for it. Like... The one thing I love about his fight versus Blachowicz is as soon as he gets up from the takedown, he is walking forward. He's not, tit for tat, kind of back and forth. He is imposing his will, which I love. And I think Ankalaev isn't going to get any rest after he shoots a takedown or misses a takedown or, I just think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to go long. It's going to be a longer fight. It's not going to be a round 1 KO from Pereira. If it is, I will cry tears of joy. I will cry tears of real happiness. But ultimately, I'm going to go 3-2 decision for Pereira.
I still like the late round KO. I'm going the round 5 KO for Pereira.
That's so ballsy.
I love it. I love it.
Let us know what your guys' predictions are for the main 2 fights, I guess. Those are the most interesting ones. If you have Pereira or if you're a Big Ank stan like Dylan.
Big Ank. But time to head to Good Surprise, Bust of the Night, and Hail Mary.
Biggest good surprise for me, I think it has to be Joshua Van.
I was going to say Joshua
Just
Van.
because he's going to clip farm the entire time.
Yeah.
He's going to look unreal because Ray Surya isn't that good. So that's my good surprise.
Okay. Bust of the night time. I'm going with Fiziev. I think that he's like the way that he's the favorite. I could see a 30-27 Gaethje decision win. So I'm going bust of the night for me is Rafael Fiziev.
That's fair. For my bust of the night, I'll go with Rizvan Kuniev. Blabiev.
He's a super underdog. That's an easy cop out.
Well, okay, you want me to go Curtis Blades instead? Nope. I don't believe in that. I just think Rizvan Kuniev is gonna suck. He's gonna suck.
Fair enough.
UFC level, different.
Fair enough.
For the Hail Mary crazy prediction, this was my crazy prediction. After the fight, so Pereira's gonna win the fight, but after the fight, all of Twitter and Big Ank supporters are gonna be saying rematch not in Ramadan. They're going to blame this loss on Ramadan. And it's not going to mean anything.
That's 100% going to happen. That is 100% going to happen.
Well, we need some crazy prediction to hit. I don't think we had a single one yet.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Hail Mary for me. Pereira's moving to heavyweight after he wins.
That'd be hype.
It's a Hail Mary for a reason. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Let us know your predictions for UFC 313. Which fights are you most excited for? While you guys are down there, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Appreciate all the love and support. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.